Hi, this is Ian Batra and Laura Batra with the Batra team over at Keller Williams in Los Gatos, California, Silicon Valley. Thank you for watching this. If you're watching this live, we appreciate you being on. If you're getting this in a video or in an email, thank you for being a part of our network. We love you guys. And if you are watching this and want to be on this list and have us emailed to you, just shoot me a private Facebook message, or if you're looking at this on our business page, go ahead and click the link above, and you'll be able to sign up and get on the list, and we'll email this to you every Friday. Without further ado, Laura, why don't you tell them what's going on in the Silicon Valley market?
All right, Santa Clara County stats, June 9th through 16th. So we're looking at 361 new listings on the market, 130 went into contract, 68 price reductions, 27 price increases, and we're looking at a total number of active listings counting out at about 1,228. Year to date in Santa Clara County, we're looking at a sale to list ratio of about 105.8, so we're still hovering around 6% or so, approximately at that. We're seeing one of the highest average sales prices that we've seen, probably in a lot of the time that we've been running stats.
I would say probably ever. I mean, without having verified that it's probably the highest average sales price.
And right now, we're topping out right now at about 1.3 million. So we're up almost 100,000 from last week's stats. So it's pretty intense. And we're seeing a decrease in days to sell, the average days to sell, and that's from about 21 down to 17 days this week. So it's interesting because typically as we roll into summer, usually we start to see increases in inventory, decreases in prices, the average days on the market to sale tend to go up a little bit, and we're still looking at really, really tight inventory with rising sale prices and dropping days on the market.
Well, as of about, I think, 2-3 weeks ago, inventory, I know it's about the same, but inventory 2-3 weeks ago was verifiably 29% lower than it was the week before, a year ago at the exact same time. So what that means is we're just really compressed, supply and demand. There's no supply. Lots of people still wanting to buy houses, which is probably contributing to one of the highest average sales prices ever. We're at 1.3 million plus county-wide average sales price, and that means we're cranking along.
We're cranking along, but you know what? It's something that we're going to want to watch. We'll see if we start rolling into more typical numbers as we continue through summer, because we're pretty early in the process in summer, so there's still time for it to come up a little bit, for prices to come down. But we're going to keep a really close eye on that because we've been in a pretty aggressive seller's market for quite a while, quite a number of years now.
Well, what does that really mean for you guys out there? It means, if you're thinking of selling, it's still a great time to get top dollar for your house if that's something you're thinking about. We have a lot of discussion about, this market has been strong for 10 years. It's been a real bull market for 6 or 7. So what we're kind of getting at is we should, in terms of history, be coming up on some sort of a change in the market. But we were discussing earlier that there's a lot of local economic factors that are really changing or influencing the market. There was a recent announcement, many of you may have seen the paper, about Google possibly, it's not confirmed, but possibly putting in a big project over near the Diridon station, over where Caltrain comes in, which, for that area, 95126 zip code, a lot of townhomes, a lot of condo projects. It's been a really strong market, but especially because if Google were to put 15,000 jobs there, they're most likely going to be entry-level software engineers, entry-level. They're going to be price points where people aren't going to be buying $2, $3, $4 million houses. But that's the perfect market for them. So those are the people that are going to want to buy a townhome at Cahill Park or a townhome at Georgetown or something in one of those condo developments. New mixed use. So those types of factors. We also
have that the Apple complex that's coming in. That's going to be they're working on North San Jose. Have they broken ground on that? I think that's coming up at some point.
From what I understand, they're still finishing up the mothership in Cupertino, the big project. But at the same time, if the mothership takes a lot of the jobs that go in there are going to be entry-level jobs, and people, of course, the higher level, the higher execs may still stay at Infinite Circle. So if a lot of the jobs they're hiring and bringing into the mothership are the mid and entry-level Apple jobs, those people are going to be, again, it's going to help the markets, the townhome markets. Part of the reason we've seen such huge increases in Blossom Valley, Morgan Hill, Santa Teresa area, some of the parts of town where the school districts are good, we've seen just the prices go, skyrocket because obviously everything in the core markets in Cupertino, Saratoga, Los Gatos have risen to such a high price that people are having to go out to the peripheral markets, which has really influenced those markets.
So what does that mean for a potential readjustment as we move forward with this market and then eventually kind of with our ups and downs?
It's a rule of economics. We're gonna have to have a correction at some point. But that's kind of what we're saying. This market may stretch out longer than we think. We don't know yet. And I'm not going to try to be overly optimistic, but I'm also not going to be the pessimist that tells you that the market's going to crash, because if the jobs keep coming in and the local economy stays strong, nothing here is going to change. The market is going to stay strong. If we still have low inventory, we still have lots of jobs, the market across the board, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the high end is moving. We're seeing the 4 or 5 million plus houses are moving, just as much as a $700,000 townhome. So everything in between. There's not a single price point that's stuck. Everything is moving because here in the Silicon Valley we have such a diversity of people and such a diversity of incomes and jobs coming in, high-level jobs and entry-level jobs that are allowing people to come in and buy things like like condos and townhomes, or sometimes they choose to go a little bit further out, to further away from the jobs, commute further, but to get a single-family home. Examples I use: Blossom Valley, Santa Teresa, Morgan Hill, Gilroy, and those areas have really done well for the people that are willing to commute to get a little more house for their money.
So barring a major economic crash or downfall event, are we looking at a situation that's going to be anything like the 2008 drop?
Highly, highly unlikely. So, you never say never, but one of the reasons that we think this market, it's probably going to be a much softer landing, is we're out there, selling 4 or 5 houses a month as a team, and as we watch, as we look at what's happening, all the home buyers, both on our listings and the clients we're representing, are financially sound. So typically putting 20+% down for the most part. There are some loan programs that allow people to get with a lower down payment, but basically we're seeing that people are getting in, and oftentimes with the way the prices have been, they're starting with some equity because of down payment, but then they're also seeing a rise in equity. So as this, if the market changes and the job situation changes, but all these people are very solid in their loans, there's no subprime loans, so everyone has down payment, reserves, equity. So if the economy changes, it's probably going to be a much softer landing. It'll shift the market, because when the market goes down, obviously prices may come down, but it's going to shift the market where we're going to see we're going to see a much softer landing. We're not going to see that kind of crazy crash.
So what would you say to buyers? Because I know we work with a lot of buyers. If they're looking at buying and they're nervous about where this market is, when you look at the view of real estate in Santa Clara County, what would you tell them?
So historically, and this message is to people who, if you don't own your primary residence, so if you're a renter, we can have a deeper level conversation. Depending if you already own real estate, your different situation, we may have a higher level conversation and look at your portfolio of what you own, if you own rental properties, on what you're going to do. But for the first time buyer, for the person who doesn't own a home, the Silicon Valley has never been a poor investment, no matter when you bought. And what that means is if you hold that house for 10 years, you're going to see an increase in the house. In your home value. So essentially, if you're here, if you work in the area, if you have no plans of leaving the area and you don't own a home, it's still going to be a key time to buy, because you're going to be paying rent, and if you're paying rent, you might as well be buying down a mortgage. And oftentimes I tell people, well, let's look at your rent. Look at the rent you have. Let's look at your mortgage payment. We'll make a comparison. Let's see, let's get you into something that makes sense. And that way, as this comes through, and even if we're going to have probably have a much softer landing on the next downturn. So depending on what happens in the next 2 years, we're talking about with all these factors, the market could still go up. Your soft landing may see you never even losing equity. We don't know. So so what we're getting at is still a great time to buy. Still a solid investment, because here's the Silicon Valley. So especially for the first-time home buyers, I would say if you don't own a home, I highly encourage you to go out, figure out a way to buy a home so that you own real estate. Different scenario if you want to leave the area, or if you already own a home, then we have to strategize based on the home you already own and properties like that. Then it's a different conversation, because your best bet may be to stay put where you are as opposed to trading up. But again, that's an individual discussion. First-time home buyers, I would say get yourself a home so you're in home ownership.
Great. Well, thank you, Ian. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching us. It's been great to have you guys here with us every week. We look forward to our next market update. Again, keeping a close watch on that market for you and with you. This is the Batra team with the Friday Facts. Thank you so much.
Thank you.